Good morning, afternoon, or evening, one and all. We are starting with Diagnostics webinar, Speed, Scale, and Relevance for May 28th, 2019. Welcome. I'm going to talk about the program, an introduction of the panelist and the Zoom software, a quick agenda, an introduction by myself, presentation from Swami, question and answer session, as this will not be an interactive session. So you'll be able to ask some questions. I'll explain that out later, and some closing comments. So I'd just like to introduce everyone. Myself, John Leeuwenburg. Swami is our pre-sales and consultancy. Gert Wijsma, product manager for Diagnostics, and Koen Porteners is our solutions architect for Diagnostics. About the Zoom software, as this is not an interactive session, we give everyone the opportunity to ask some questions in the Zoom software. If you go to the chat, you can ask and type in your question there. We will take it up in the question and answer session. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to type in. We won't notice it right away. That'll be brought up in the question and answer session. Good. First thing, the GE Americas User Conference Group, User Group Conference is coming up on June the 10th through the 13th. That will be held in Bellevue, Washington. I'm going to be giving two presentations there, one in the electric track and one in the gas track. So we're more than welcome to come and visit the presentation. Hopefully you'll get a little bit more information about diagnostics. We'll certainly look forward to seeing you there. Furthermore, we will have our initial diagnostics user gathering take place from 7:30 to 9 p.m. in the exhibition hall on Monday evening. So the exhibition goes till 8 o'clock. So anybody around, more than welcome to join, as there's for small world users then. And most certainly we have a booth. We're at booth number C3, and you're more than welcome to come visit us there for some discussions on diagnostics and how we could potentially help you. Good. So I wanted to give a couple of examples of how small world customers can gain control over their small world implementation. We've had some example successes and want to quickly review them with you. For a telco company, the technical support had found a memory leak. So when memory leaks start to occur, users are alerted in advance of that situation, so can avert that particular problem. At another telco, we were able, with a data manager, to avert data corruption issues. That was an issue of how certain functions were used in an order in a business process. That has been rectified. At a utility company that migrated from version 4 to version 5, they were able to reduce their migration effort by 33%. This really helped the release manager bring the release on time and effectively throughout the organization. Another utility with its database administrator had resolved database indexing issues. So that improved the performance on certain queries and so forth. Good. We're moving over to presentation right now. I'm going to stop sharing this. Swami, you're up to bat.
Yes, of course. Okay. All right, let me just move this out of the way. Okay. So hello everyone, my name is Swami and welcome to the webinar. So this webinar is about the fundamentals. It is about fundamental building blocks of diagnostics and how they have helped deliver meaningful insights to our customers across the globe. So before we get into that, I would like to quickly introduce everyone here to diagnostics and what it does exactly. So diagnostics is a big data-based performance monitoring tool, which is built exclusively for small world customers. So it allows customers to track everything that their users do within their small world installation. So once this information is tracked, what Diagnostics does is it processes this huge chunks of user behavioral data and makes it available in this easy to understand dashboards for the administrators. So what administrators in turn can do using these dashboards are they can identify bottlenecks within their small world installation. And then Diagnostics helps them to make informed decisions on which aspects of small world they need to focus their maintenance efforts on. So one big problem that Diagnostics helps utilities and telcos address is that of silo monitoring. So performance monitoring is usually done in silos. So what happens is if there is a tool that the client identifies which has performance problems, they go ahead and develop custom monitoring tools which is designed to track that one particular function or one particular tool. And because these custom monitoring tools are built in silos, it is very difficult for the clients to truly understand the performance impact of the problem before deciding on whether or not they want to fix it. Say, for example, if there is a database administrator and he or she identifies that a particular query takes a lot of time to execute, right? So before deciding on whether they want to add an index to a particular field, which basically involves database changes, which needs time off and so on. Before deciding on doing that, they need to know how often is this query used, how often is this field used for query, or they need to know whether the performance of any other small world tool or any other business integration is being affected because they use this query or this field to execute a query in the back end. So that the way Diagnostics solves this problem is by making all the monitored data available in a single platform. So if the same administrator, same database administrator were to come across the same problem with Diagnostics, so what they will be able to do is not only identify, pinpoint the queries which are taking a lot of time, the problematic ones, they will also be able to cross-reference the data with small world tools, with integrations, cross-reference the data, and truly identify what is the impact that this particular query has on their overall small world installation. So this basically makes the decision process much easier. Okay, so that was the introduction. Now let me talk about the building blocks of Diagnostics. So while we were designing Diagnostics, we identified 6 principal characteristics which we wanted to integrate. We wanted it to be at the very core of our product design. So they were, the number one is speed, which means we wanted our product to be able to track everything, every user activity in almost real time. The second one was that it should be non-intrusive, meaning it must have almost negligible impact on the user experience of small world. The third one was that it should be very easy to use to the end user. The fourth one was that it should be one-stop shop for any tracking related requirements of the client. The fifth one was the insights that the administrators or the end users gather from Diagnostics should be relevant to them. And lastly is that every characteristics that I mentioned, all the other 5 building blocks, they should be scalable. It should be independent of the users or the client's user base. So as part of this webinar, I would primarily be focusing on 3 blocks, these 3 blocks, which is speed, scale, and relevance, and what are the impacts that they have had on the performance-based decisions that our customers have made by using Diagnostics. And because I would be taking you through a few live demos using a few dashboards, you will also be able to witness how incredibly easy it is to gather insights from Diagnostics. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one, speed. So by design, diagnostics has the following characteristics. Number one is that it tracks everything that the user does in almost real time. The second one is that if say the user selects an object on a map, the very next instant it would be available in diagnostics. Say a user clicks on a button, they execute a query, they get an error message. Any activity that they do within small world is instantly made available within diagnostics to do its analysis. The second one is that it has very minimal overhead. It adds very minimal overhead to your overall small world installation, which also means that it has almost negligible impact on the user experience. Now, obviously, the last statement which I mentioned, which is it's able to track everything at the same time, it has no impact. This particular statement needs some proving. So it's difficult for people, for a person to imagine how can a solution be able to track everything which is happening inside small world and at the same time have no impact on the user experience. So this is how diagnostics does it. So what it does is quite simple. It basically waits for the user to complete his or her action before starting to gather the data. So let me put this into perspective. Let's say there is a user. He has his editor open, an empty editor. He is going to perform two actions. The first one is he is going to click on the get button. The second one is he is going to click on the go to button. So as soon as he clicks on the get button, there are two events which gets generated and is stored in a queue within small world. So these are, the first one is that the user has clicked on a particular button. The second event is about the query which got executed in the backend in order to populate the editor. So these two events are sitting in a queue and it is waiting for the user action to be completed. So as soon as the user action is completed and just before the user is about to click on the go to button, what diagnostics does is it senses this millisecond of idle time which is there in small world and instantly sends these stored data out for analyzing. So this is how diagnostics is able to track everything which is happening inside small world in real time without having any impact on the user experience. The second one is the scaling. The second building block that I wanted to talk about is scaling. So obviously delivering on the promise of speed without impact is easier when you have a small user base. But we wanted to ensure that the performance that we promise was independent of the customer's user base. And to deliver on this promise in our 2.x release, in our current release, what we have done, which happened about a year ago, what we did is we made some important architectural changes to the entire product. So the first one is Diagnostics 2.x is now fully cloud compatible. So while clients can still opt to go for an on-premise solution, with the current version of Diagnostics, clients can also choose to go to the cloud for their analytical needs. So because it is cloud compatible, what it also means is that the analysts around the world can analyze the user behavioral data from anywhere in the world using proper authentication. Of course, the authentication that the client provides. Using this authentication, they can analyze the data from anywhere in the world. So for example, if you were to come to me and say, Swami, I want you to take a look at these data that diagnostics has captured. I have a problem with my business process. Can you tell me where the problem is? So what I can do is I can sit in this very chair. I can open up diagnostics. I can use the authentication that you provided, analyze the data, and pinpoint you to the problematic area related to that particular business process. So the accessibility with this particular version is incredibly simple. The third one is that we have changed the way in which small world data gets communicated to diagnostics. So with the current version, what we did is we have started the use of the extremely fast option of web services. So what this has done is it has simplified the architectural overhead associated with diagnostics. And because we were able to make all these changes in in diagnostics, we were able to ensure that the performance that it now delivers is scalable. So it doesn't matter if you have a few users, if you have thousands of users, the performance that diagnostics will deliver will always be in line with what we promise. So the third one is relevance. So every client has a team of in-house experts whose objective is to enhance, to continually strive to make the user's experience of Small World better with every day. So this team of people they are made up of, say, database administrators, there are technical support personnel, there are data managers, and so on. So what I like to refer to this team, this group of people, as A team, as clients own A team. And each member of this A team is responsible for a particular aspect of Small World. So let's say, for example, this is your A team, for example. So each member have their own set of requirements or set of insights that they want us to deliver in order to do what they do best. So say, for example, a database administrator, the first one, they might need info on aspects such as slow running queries, which are the slow running queries, or which are database transactions which are taking a lot of time. Or if it's a data manager, they might be interested in errors or conflicts which the users face while working on the data. Or say if it is a release manager, for example, they might need to know which are the most used functions that the users use in order to make sure that these functions are tested properly before the big release. And it just depends on a persona or the role a particular individual plays in the A team, and their requirement is tuned to that particular role. So what diagnostics does here is it is designed to satisfy requirements of any individual, regardless of the role that they play within the organization. Let's take an example. Let's say there is a data manager. So for a data manager, if he were to use diagnostics, he would make use of this particular dashboard, this dashboard that you see here. So let me take you through what this dashboard does. So what I have here is a timeline. So what I'm going to do, the first step that I'm going to do, assuming that I am a data manager, I'm going to click on all time, which is nothing but I'm just asking diagnostics to analyze all the information that it has gathered from day one. And I'm going to click on the submit button. Okay, so as soon as I click on the submit button, you see here that there are two charts which starts to get populated. The first one on the left is talking about the average time that each collection takes, each transaction for each collection takes over the entire period of time that it has been gathering data. And the second one is how many transactions for each collections have been done from day one by the users, by your users. So let's say I'm interested in this particular collection. So I click on this, and instantly you see that there are two more dashboards which are coming up. What this particular functionality of diagnostics does is it allows the administrators to dive as deep as possible into the information that they are looking for. So we started off on the top, which is this particular collection. I clicked on this, and this opened up these two dashboards. So this dashboard right here on the left, it is telling me, it gives me information on where the inserts, where the deletes, where the updates for this particular collection, the collection that I am interested in, where these inserts and updates are happening. So if I were to zoom in a bit, so you see this particular blue dot is the inserts and this are the updates. So if you see in this area there, I see that all the inserts are being made over here. It might be because of a new area being developed or a new building coming up. It can be just about anything. And over here, I see that there are a lot of updates happening in the network. It might be because of a lot of maintenance activities going on in that particular area, or it might be a storm season, for example, and this is where the maintenance is happening a lot. Then on this, so this dashboard is telling me where these activities are taking place, and the chart on the left, on the right, sorry, is telling me when these activities are taking place. So this is telling me where, this is when. So what the data managers can do, they can merge these to the information that they get from all these dashboards to arrive at the decision, to arrive at the focal point of their maintenance efforts. And these are not the only dashboards that you can have. You can keep on adding more and more dashboards based on any the information that you need. Like for example, as soon as I click on this, we can add a dashboard which can tell the data manager about the number of conflicts that the user have for this collection, or they can see whether for this collection, whenever they have a conflict, do they always go with the parent, or how many times they go with the child, and so on. So this, using this dashboard, you can dive as deep as you want. All you need to do is add these dashboards, add the charts that you want, click on the information that you need, and the information will just starts to flow. The second one is, say if you are a release manager. Another example, let's say you are a release manager, you want to know, you have a big upgrade based release coming up, and you are about to get into a UAT phase of the project. So what your primary objective or primary concern would be to get a list of most used functions so that you can focus your testing efforts on them, right? For them, we can have, for the release manager, specifically made for a release manager, we can have dashboards such as these. So what this dashboard, the first one, this is the starting point. So this dashboard is telling me which is the small world application that my users use a lot. So let's say I'm interested in this particular application. I click on this, and instantly I have two more dashboards which are related directly to this particular application. So dashboard on the left is telling me for this application, which are the tab-based tools which my users use a lot. And the one on the right is telling me which are the toolbar functions that my users use a lot. So let's say if I look at this one on the left, I see the editor has a significant percentage in the pie chart. So if I want to know more about this, I click on the editor, and instantly I have three more dashboards coming up. The first dashboard is telling about, oh, this is just 7 days. I'm quickly going to change it to all time. So if I have all time, I click on this again, and you see that these three dashboards are coming up. So you can fine tune this based on the time interval that you need. If you want just for a month, if you want all time, if you want for 2 months, so on, whatever requirement that you have, whatever is your time frame that you're looking for, you can fine tune it here. And you click on this, and this is the further information, the more information that Diagnostics is able to give. So what it is telling me now is, for in the editor, these are the collections in this application. These are the collections which are inserted a lot. These are the ones which are updated a lot, and these are the ones which gets deleted a lot. So using dashboards such as these, what Diagnostics does here is that it makes the gathering of insights that much easy. So all the administrators, they need to do now is keep on adding information to Diagnostics, keep on adding charts, just start click, 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 and the information that they are looking for will be made available. Okay, so now that you see that with the Diagnostics in the current version, it has something for everyone. So it doesn't matter what role an individual plays, a Diagnostics can provide exact information that they require to do what they do best. And the best part is that the information that is made available is made available in an extremely user-friendly dashboard. So we designed it in such a way that you don't have to worry about all the complexities of extracting the intelligence from gigabytes of your user behavioral data. You don't need to worry about that. All you need to do is you need to open up Diagnostics, click, 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 and the information will just start flowing. So before I wrap up my webinar, I do have an exciting news that I would like to share with everyone. As John already mentioned, we do have a booth in the conference, booth C3, and we will have this very version of Diagnostics available on the booth. So you can come over to the booth, you can talk about any of your small world performance bottlenecks that you have. come talk to us and we can show you through a live demo in front of you. We can open up Diagnostics. We can show you how Diagnostics can help your problem and make the performance of your small world better. So with that, I come to the end of my webinar. I do hope that you found this useful, and I look forward to working with your A team in the near future. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Swami. Very interesting. So we get to the question and answer session right now, and let me bring that up, and I'm going to bring up the chat. There we go. While we wait for some questions to get typed in, Swami, I'm going to quickly ask you a question. We talked about speed, scale, and performance. Speed on in terms of acquiring the data, but also speed in terms of improving the performance. Can you provide a couple of other examples verbally how we were able to achieve that with some other customers?
Yeah. So I will just go with the one that every client has, the business process. So we worked with a utility in the US, and they had problems with migration from one state to the other. They did try a few things. They had but they were not able to understand where the problem was. So then we came into play. We had Diagnostics in place, and over the period of time, we were able to pinpoint what exactly the problem was. They solved it, and now the whole transition, the business processes, it works about 30% or 30 to 40% better. Again, it's not just a number that we throw, it's an exact statistics. What we do is we took the time that it took, because Diagnostics is tracking everything. We took the time that the transition used to take before the fix, and we measured the time it takes after the fix. And by comparing that, the client was able to understand that it is now 30 to 40% better.
Okay, great. Okay, got a question here. You say that the information is endless and we can dive in as deeper as we want. How useful is this? Does it become complicated the more deeper we dive in?
No, it's actually the other way around. The deeper that you dive in, the more simple it becomes for you to take a decision. So the more, take example of the database transaction or the release manager example. So once they started off with the application, that was kind of a vague information. They selected on the application that they are interested in. Then we had two more dashboards, which was talking about the tools which was mostly used, and then they clicked on the editor that opened up more information. So the deeper that a user, that an administrator goes into Diagnostics, the more simplified his decisions become.
Great. Yes, we definitely collect very granular information. Good. Any other questions? We've got another one. How much time would it take my team to be able to start analyzing with Diagnostics?
So let's say usually a team is made up of two people who, when it comes to Diagnostics, one is the end user, and the other one is your technical person who is going to do all the querying and stuff. For the technical person, what we do is, as part of our offering, we also provide training to ensure that they are able to develop these dashboards on the same level as we do. So that takes about, I think, 2 or 3 days maximum of training, and it's pretty easy to use. It's a simple querying language. For the admin, if you are an administrator, on the other hand, it's very, very easy. There is almost no training required. It's very intuitive. All you need to do is, as we saw, just click on what you need, and the information will just start to flow. That's all. That's all you need. A click.
Okay. We have another question, Swami. I understand that Diagnostics extracts the data from small world user applications. Does it also track job server activities, network viewer, or GSS app provider activities, and so forth?
Yes. So it does track job server activities. So what we do is, apart from the tracking that Diagnostics provides out of box, we do come across clients who want to extend the tracking capability. Like, for example, in your case, you would like to also track, say, job server or a particular business transaction or something. So this is kind of an extended version of Diagnostics tracking, which is still very easy. So there is a portal that we have. It's called the user portal, and what we do is, any custom dashboards that we build, we place it here. So all the customer needs to do is log into that portal, download the module, and the integration is very easy, and the Diagnostics will just start to track the job server, GSS application, just about anything. To keep it very simple, all you need to know is, not now, if you are, after this webinar, if you are thinking, will this particular function be, can Diagnostics track this? The simple answer is, if it is happening inside small world, Diagnostics can track, Diagnostics will be able to track it. Diagnostics will be able to provide you the information that you are needed, that you are looking for, the granular information that you're looking for.
Great. Coincidentally, in the chat, you can see that we've placed the portal information, the URL, so you can copy it and do some research there. We have another question time. We have a lot of custom tools. Does Diagnostics monitor those as well?
Yes, it does. It does. Again, because it's happening inside small world. Yes, it does. So any customization, as I talked in reference to my earlier reply. So any customization that a client has, if they want to track it, so what they can do is, it's a simple XML configuration. Just open up an XML, add one line of entry, and the tracking starts. It's as simple as that. And once the data comes into Diagnostics, you got to know, you just saw how easy it is to extract the insights from that.
Good. We have another question. Great. You showed database transactions by geographic location. Can I see the URN of the changed record?
Yeah. The URN are usually used by, in case of integration. So if you want to tell SAP that I'm talking about this particular object, you show them the URN, they are able to figure out which object it is. So yes, in the current version, it does show the URN as well. So again, just a click, you have your URN.
Fantastic. Thank you, Swami. Any more questions? We've got one more. I'm responsible for the data in our asset management. Can I get a report on the quality of my data?
Indeed you can. In fact, again, referring to the portal that we have, if you go to that portal, you will see that we have a module there for the quality manager. So this was a trident of modules that we developed. This was with focus on the business process. We had for design manager, job manager, and the quality manager. So what the quality manager does is, it will be able to tell you which are the errors that users are facing a lot. And if you also download the others, which is the job and the design manager, you will be able to cross-reference the data and tell that, okay, if I get this error, say a cable has some quality checks which the users are getting a lot of errors for. You can also see which are the business processes which are getting affected because of this error coming up. Because once you get the error, you have to redo the whole thing. Then you can cross-reference using Diagnostics and see which are the business processes which gets affected.
Good. So just a quick question from my side, Swami. You showed a bunch of drill down capabilities. Could we drill down on the tracebacks as well?
Yeah, indeed. Indeed, we can. We can, again, we can start from on a zoomed out version, like we can say, the general message does not understand message or stale handle message. We can start from that. Then the administrator clicks on the one that he is interested in. Then we can drill down saying how many times a user is getting it, when they are getting it, what group of users get it a lot, any business processes it is tied to. So we can drill down as deep as you want, right down all the way down to the entire traceback block that you get in your Emacs.
Brilliant. Lots of information. Good. Any more questions? And there are no more questions right now. Good. So thank you very much, Swami. I'm going to close this out a little bit at this moment. Good. So we've had our question and answer session. I want to be able to discuss using it. So we offer a trial period solution. You can trial diagnostics for 3 months or longer if necessary. You define 3 areas of concern to resolve. We provide 3 days of training so you can start using it yourself and start analyzing it like Swami was describing so well. As well, you can receive an analysis with the outcomes whereby we can identify how to improve the solution. Other options include managed services, purchase, and lease. And as a special offer in this particular webinar, the GE conference begins on June the 10th. So this offer is for the first customer, new customer, I should mention, deciding to move forward will receive 5 days of consulting free. Some of that time can be used for training if you wish. But we'll put a package together for you so that we can move you forward. Good. So from a professional services perspective, Real World and our partners can provide a health check. How is it performing? We can give you a baseline definition, a starting point from the perspective is how it's performing and how it can be improved afterwards. It is improved afterwards. It can also be a baseline definition for migration. So should you wish to migrate from version 4 to version 5, you can see what the start point was and what the end point is when you've actually migrated and how it performs, the speed, the scale, the whole works. We also have a managed services perspective with regular reports and alerting. So for example, we keep an eye on how your system is performing. And when we see certain trends start to evolve, we inform the appropriate AT in your organization so that you can get up to speed and address the concern right away. We also provide customized services. So if there's certain customization business processes that you'd like us to get more granular with for you, we can most certainly do that. We also have support services on the product. There is training on the product, which described earlier, 3 days of training, and after analysis services fix them. So any of the problems that we find, we can come in and help resolve those issues in the small world environment. Good. Just a quick reminder on contact information. www.diagnosticsincontrol.com is the website. info@diagnosticsincontrol.com is the email address that you can use if you've got any further questions, any concerns. And here's a repeat for you with respect to the portal. If you go to diagnosticsincontrol.com, there's a portal tab. Just click on it, you'll come to this URL. Good. I'd like to close out this diagnostics In Control website or webinar. It's about speed, scale, and performance. We hope to see you at the GE User Group Conference in Bellevue. Would love to discuss the issues, and definitely welcome to user gathering on the Monday evening, which is the first exhibition evening of that user gathering, the user conference. Thank you very much, and goodbye.